Hello and welcome to Rohans Sci-Fi Stories, where I'm going to ramble on about science fiction, both from the point of view of a fan and as a science fiction author. Might be a little bit of fantasy thrown in there as well for fun. This week, to start off the Rohans Sci-Fi Stories, I'm going to talk about two books or authors really who inspired me to start writing. I'll explain a little bit about that as I talk about them. The first one is the Expanse series. This is Leviathan Wakes, the first one in the series. So this was written by two guys. James S.A. Corey is the pen name, and the two guys are Daniel Abrahams and Ty Frank. What I really loved about the Expanse series was, I guess, the realness of it. You know, when you're used to Star Wars and Star Trek and everything is kind of flying around the place, getting from place to place really quickly and not really being too worried about space dangers that might pop up. The Expanse really goes into detail about how long it takes to get from place to place, how the body can't actually take acceleration at any real speed, so everything is very slow moving around. And that's one of the things I really like, the grittiness of that, the realness of that. And I definitely try to bring that into my books as much as possible. A good friend of mine, Mac Dara, is my science guy, so everything I write goes to him, and I go, will this work? Will this work in real life? And he tells me most of the time, he says, no, that's a load of rubbish. You're going to have to change that, which I do. So that's kind of that's what I took from The Expanse. The books are quite long, probably one of the only times I will say that I preferred the series to the books. And I think maybe that's because I've got quite a short attention span. And the books can be a little bit drawn out in places. I highly recommend them. I love them. They're great, but maybe a bit slower paced than what I would like. And if you've read my books, definitely slower paced than the books that I write. The second one is probably going to seem a bit off field, but it's actually Joe Abercrombie. This is my favorite Abercrombie book, Heroes. This book is just an amazingly written battle scene. Basically, it's essentially one battle with the usual morally grey characters that Joe writes so well. You're just kind of transported from one place to the other on the battlefield, and you're seeing it from the different perspectives, and it's so well done. It's so just such a great visually, I could really see everything that was happening. I could envision the plain, the valley, everything that was going on in the book, and I really enjoyed it. And definitely I love to bring some of that morally grey characters into my writing and a little bit of that grim dark in space. So I guess when I started writing, I think that was probably what I was trying to do, was a little bit of grimdark in space. I don't know if it turned out exactly like that. You can be the judge of that and let me know if I succeeded. It's probably, yeah, that's part of it, and definitely I think brought in a little bit of my own ideas into that as well. I think from the point of view of the characters, probably the main characters probably aren't as backstabby as Abercrombie's novels, but there's definitely lots of twists and turns within the book. Um, so I'm just going to leave you with that for this week. That's the first thing I'm talking about. So that's my book there, Cold Blooded. You can check that out on Amazon, Kobo, Apple Books, Barnes and Noble, all the places that stock books across the internet. And I will hopefully be bringing you more of these little videos as we go on. I'll also be putting my first chapter reads videos up on YouTube from now on under this channel. So first chapter reads is where I read the first chapter of an indie book and hope that you might just find your next favorite author. Mostly I read science fiction. I'm going to be definitely reading some fantasy as well. I've got some of that lined up in the future, and so I'm pretty much booked up for the year. There's a couple of slots left. If any authors out there do want me to feature their book on my First Chapter Reads podcast, please do get in touch. Thanks so much for listening, and I will chat to you all soon. Take care.